Welcome back to A Scottish Castle a Day, brought to you by bagtownclans.com. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we're venturing into the heart of Lanarkshire to explore the mysterious and storied ruins of Cadzow Castle. Set high above the Avon Water in what is now Chatelherault Country Park, these ruins whisper tales of Scotland's royal past, its fierce battles, and the powerful Hamilton family, whose name echoes through the centuries. Cadzow Castle stands less than a mile southeast of modern-day Hamilton, but in earlier times this land was known as Cadzow, a name derived from the Middle Scots Cadzow, meaning fort on the narrow strip. Built on the ancient hunting grounds of Scottish kings, the ruins we see today are just a shadow of a once majestic stronghold. In fact, this was no ordinary castle. It was a symbol of royal authority, a hunting lodge for Scotland's early monarchs, and later a prized possession of the powerful Hamilton clan. The site itself dates back to the 12th century, when the original castle served as a royal residence for King David I and his successors. Nestled within the ancient Caledonian forest, Cadzow Castle was likely used as a base for royal hunting expeditions. The dense woodlands and rolling hills provided the perfect setting for kings to hunt wild game, and even today, this region is known for the Cadzow wild white cattle, one of the rarest breeds in the world, still roaming the forest as they have for centuries. Cadzow's royal connections continued into the reign of Alexander II and Alexander III, who also enjoyed the castle as a retreat. However, during the Wars of Independence, ownership shifted. Robert the Bruce granted the Cadzow estate to Walter Fitzgilbert de Hambledon, the ancestor of the Hamiltons, after the forfeiture of lands by the rebellious Commons. It was the Hamilton family in the 16th century who would transform the castle into a stronghold that stood not just for their power, but for their loyalty to Mary, Queen of Scots. Speaking of Mary, Queen of Scots, her connection to Cadzow Castle is one of the most dramatic episodes in its history. After her daring escape from Lochleven Castle in 1568, Mary sought refuge at Cadzow, where the Hamilton family, staunch supporters of her cause, welcomed her. But her stay was brief and ill-fated. Soon after, her forces were defeated at the Battle of Langside, and in retaliation, the Earl of Mar, serving as regent for James VI, ordered the castle destroyed. Though it was partially rebuilt in the 18th century, the damage left its mark, and the castle would never regain its former glory. One of the most fascinating elements of Cadzow Castle is its connection to Sir Walter Scott, who was inspired by its romantic ruins and the surrounding woodlands. Scott immortalized the castle in his ballad, Cadzow Castle, written during a visit to Hamilton Palace in 1801. His verses paint a vivid picture of the castle's once Gothic towers and its lively halls where princely Hamiltons hosted feasts and festivities. Yet, as Scott's poem laments, those towers now lie in ivy-clad ruins, echoing only the winds of time and the roar of the nearby Avon Gorge. The architecture of Cadzow Castle, or what remains of it, speaks to its turbulent past. Built upon a steep, rocky gorge, the castle was both a fortress and a statement of power. The dramatic cliffside location, combined with its proximity to the Avon Water, provided natural defences that were vital in a region constantly on the brink of clan conflicts and political intrigue. From the massive Duke's Bridge nearby, visitors can still catch a breathtaking view of the crumbling stone walls clinging to the edge of the gorge, offering a glimpse of its former grandeur. Today, the ruins are carefully preserved by Historic Environment Scotland, though public access is limited due to the castle's fragile state. But visitors to Chatelherault Country Park can explore the surrounding woodland and catch views of the castle from the many footpaths that wind through the estate. The park itself, once the hunting grounds of Hamilton Palace, still holds the majesty of its past, with ancient trees, including remnants of the Cadzow oaks, believed to be nearly 1,000 years old. Of course, no visit to Cadzow Castle would be complete without mentioning the Cadzow wild white cattle, often referred to as the Cadzow White Park cattle. Sir Walter Scott once wrote about the ferocity of these creatures, claiming they had to be exterminated. Thankfully, that wasn't quite the case. Today, a herd of about 50 still grazes peacefully in the park, offering visitors a rare glimpse into Scotland's ecological and historical heritage. As we wrap up our journey through the centuries with Cadzow Castle, it's clear that while the castle itself may lie in ruins, its legacy endures. From its origins as a royal hunting lodge to its time as a Hamilton stronghold and later its romantic ruin, Cadzow remains a symbol of Scotland's rich and complex history. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of A Scottish Castle a Day. I'm Colin MacDonald, and I hope you'll tune in tomorrow as we continue to uncover the stories behind Scotland's most fascinating castles. Until then, Slán go foil.